Hey, so what's up guys, it's Pohdoh here, and in this video I'm going to be commentating over a 4v4, and it's going to be with Erebus, Cinomar, and Skull. Basically, I'm an Ice Mage, Skull is a Fire Mage, Cinomar is the healer, and Erebus is a Sin. And already this combo it's okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but then it does have some weaknesses against certain other combos, just as any other. So I haven't been doing a lot of fours reels just because they're kind of hard to get. It's kind of hard to get into a real fours team, especially since it's so much easier doing a farm. And the team we're going against is probably a farm. I highly doubt they're actually a legit team. So regardless if it was a farm, they still had a healer, so I figure I might as well post it. It's not really that impressive. So as you can see, Skull put up a flame storm, and then basically our Cinomar, our healer, is just constantly kiting around. He's invisible now due to his bonus. Rabinus is just doing pretty ridiculous amount of damage, but it doesn't really matter since Cinomar is just basically healing all of it. There's not much you can do, even though Skull is silenced. He's pretty much silencing the wrong person. He should have silenced me first, because Skull could have easily been controlled since he's a fire mage, but then instead he decided to silence Skull, probably to reduce the pressure on the healer. But then now me as an ice mage, I'm allowed to go amok, and I don't really do all that much in this game because I pretty much knew that from the beginning we're gonna win. Erebus, is pretty much doing his job stunning people, since there's two people freezing, me and Skull. He's gonna activate diminishing return, but then the stuns won't be effective, so he can still activate stun to its fullest. And then there's Pure Envy, he's a DPS warrior. No, he's a tank. Never mind, he's a tank. And then we're just pretty much cleaning up. As soon as the mage and the healer went down on their team, they pretty much were screwed. Because the tank by himself has buff, and as overpowered tanks are, the tank just cannot keep up with 3 DPS and a healer. So I mean, you can just see how long it takes for us to kill this one tank, and it just shows how incredibly powerful tanks are. Tanks are pretty much overpowered. They're probably more overpowered than Sins were before, just because of the fact that they're overpowered in both in arena and in world PvP. I mean, look how much health he has. Like, this is against 3 DPS, and he's taking so long. It's not that he's a good player. Maybe it's a good player, I don't know, but just because of the class itself, it's just nothing we can do. It's just the game off being stupid and giving tanks a ridiculous amount of health, ridiculous amount of armor. They also have a ridiculous amount of resilience if they're fully geared. Not to mention the fact that they can do 7 to 8k slaps in world PvP, 4k slaps here, 3.5k against resilience buff targets. I mean, they're pretty ridiculous. I mean, tanks are really overpowered right now, and it's hard to tell, especially if you're under gear. But it's only until I can tell, especially as an ice mage, since I do very little damage, but I have very good control. But even with my control, even though I'm freezing them for like 12 seconds straight, I just cannot get enough damage in just because of courage. And anyways, this is gonna be another game. It's gonna be against a kind of real team. It's against guildies basically, but then they just kind of queued because they were trying to pick on farm teams, but that didn't really happen. So anyways, I put down a perma at the very beginning. I pretty much get a really good perma. As you can see, it pretty much encases everyone inside here. I get another good freeze right here, getting 3 inside. They're Sucre and the other mages trying to silence Skull, but that's not really their issue right now. The main issue should be focusing on me, because they can easily control and focus on Skull if they really wanted to. But then they need it. But then I'm being the really annoying one here as an ice mage, and as an ice mage, it's very difficult to kill me. So they might as well try to silence me for a few seconds, so I can at least be out of the picture. But as you can see, the healer went down. Cinomar is doing a pretty good job. He's a little low on mana, but it doesn't really matter since we don't really need any healing. As you can see, everyone in our team is very healthy. They have a good amount of health left. And then we should have focused down little buddy first, because he was by far the squishiest mage since he was under geared. But then it's whatever. As you can see, Manny, the military monk, use deities here. It kind of shows that he has basically no health, and against an ice mage, there's no way he's going to be doing enough damage, so I'm going to be keeping it frozen. And then finally, our very wonderful guild master Sucre goes down last just because he was the best gear. He had the best gear, he had the most amount of resilience, so it doesn't really make sense that we go for him first. It makes sense that we go for him last, especially since he's just one mage. Like one mage, a mage really needs support, both from the healer and both from another DPS in order to really do a significant amount of damage. So that's why fire mage and ice mage comp is actually pretty decent in theory. But having a Sin on our team is not particularly bad. We're still going to be lacking out on damage, since overall our main problem is that if we go against a double heal team, or if we go against a double melee team, it's going to be a really big problem. So, and that's exactly what happens. We go against a real team, like a 2K rated team here, and then they have 2 millies. And that's a really big problem since we don't really have a counter to 2 millies. They're both gonna be focusing that. I mean, 2 milli, they just have an insane damage output, and the problem is not that we're gonna die. It's not that we're gonna die first. It's just a problem that we can't deal with 2 millis. Especially since because I heals, the healer is just constantly running away, and we decided to go for the healer first since it was pretty much the weakest link, but then it wasn't really a weak link because it was just the weakest one, you know, we just figured. And then there's Rayton here. He's a pure ice mage and he's causing a huge amount of trouble here. You know, he's just constantly freezing everyone, and what Rayton's doing actually in Silent, even though you can't see him, is he's rotating between freeze, Blaze Prison, and Sleep. And because the main advantage about this is that because the 2 DPS are military monks, there's no AoE going around, so Sleep's actually being very beneficial and doing a lot of damage. On the other side, my Sleeps are actually pretty ineffective since Skull is doing so much AoE damage that that the Sleep will only last for a few seconds. And as you can see, you know, even though we're holding out for now, you can see Cinomar's health, the healer, is slowly going down because both millies are going after him, and there's really nothing you can do if 2 millies are after you. I mean, the amount of damage they do is just absolutely ridiculous. So Cinemar, as you can see, Cinemar also has a new weapon. You know, it has a really good, you know, bonus, restoring like 10% of your health back. But even that won't save it from 2 millis. So we finally get a healer down, but then at this point, you know, there's not much we can do. Cinemar already ran out of prey. You know, he's pretty much running for his life. And then you know, there's one going for Cinemar, one going for Skull, and they're going for Skull, so the Skull has a kite, and they'll reduce the pressure on the 2 millis since 2 millis are susceptible to the high AoE damage. But then Rayton's in the background, he's constantly stunning. You know, as you can see, Cinemar has Blaze Prison up, so he can't do any kind of healing, and this is a really powerful comp against our team because Erebus, the Sin, just simply can't put up enough damage to kill the Millie or the Ice Mage, and especially not the Ice Mage. The problem with the Millie is the Millie can use deities right after, even if the health gets low. And I put one of the Millies to sleep, you know, try to stall out a little bit, but then it's pretty much inevitable that we're gonna die. You know, even though their healer is went down first, doesn't really matter since they're just simply gonna out DPS us. They're gonna outlast us. I'm running around the pillar so I can save time. So I can, you know, stall out so that, you know, hopefully Erebus and Skull can do a little more damage, but then, you know, it's pretty much inevitable here. Erebus, you know, was the last one standing because he's a Sin, and and it's not really a good idea to go after the Sin first, especially if they smoke bomb. So anyways, we lost one, and we lost one more, and then at the very last one, you do win against this team, but only because they replaced one of their military monks with a well-geared archer. And the problem is that we pretty much raped that comp, you know, any comp with an archer, simply because I'm an ice mage, constantly stunning the archer. And there's also Skull and, you know, Erebus, which can do a very high amount of damage, especially if there's a military monk. So anyways, as you can see, the ratings, my rating is by far the lowest, so that's only because I farm. Like, literally, like, at one point my rating was at 1900 in forest, but then I did forest farm for another hour and it went back down to 1500, so I really don't care about my rating. Like, I'm not joking when I say I don't care about my rating. Like, if I really did care, if I really want to buff up, I can easily get the 2k. I'm fairly confident about that. You know, I see a lot of really bad mages, with 2k rating, but they only get there because they have vigil and they have resilience buff. I mean, like, really bad mages, they have wisdom buff and they still run out of mana somehow. Like, I don't understand that. Like, even me with like a minimum with like 9k mana, and I also, you know, also have 9k mana. I don't have rank 1 spells. I mean, even that, I can still keep up my mana pretty well. I never run out of mana, as you can see here. You know, I get somewhat close to 25%, but I never actually get to the point where I actually run out. And I can do 2v1 for a very long time without running out of mana. I don't understand how these people with resilience buff and with and with wisdom buff, how they can run out of mana. It just kind of shows that they're not the best of mages. But I get a good freeze off here first, freeze all 4 of them for 6 seconds, and then, you know, Rayton's constantly freezing us back, and then he has permafrost up, and that's preventing our healer from doing any kind of real kite. And then I get another good freeze off, you know, get 4 of them, and it's kind of expected since there are, you know, 2 melee DPS. Rayton's not really a DPS, he's more like a tank, and than anything, he's just constantly, you know, annoying them, so annoying our team. So anyways, we're going after the healer here. The healer's health is going down really low, and I'm trying to shock. Shocks do so little damage just because you know, our shocks do really little damage just because I'm an ice mastery, and we get down the healer really fast. But then this time they decided to focus on Skull, and that's probably even a better move than going after the healer because Skull's a fire mage and he's really squishy. The problem is I can't defend Skull because I'm going after the healer, because we need the combined DPS of all the combined DPS of me, Skull, and of Erebus in order to take down the healer. There's no way you can take down a fully geared room buffed healer, you know, without 3 people, and in that time I can't defend Skull, and then Skull's just gonna go down under the pressure of multiple millies. So now there's a melee after me here, and there's a melee going after Cinnamar, and I'm trying to run away here. You know, Goku's going after me, and I'm trying to get good freezes off. I do get multiple freezes off, but by this time diminishing return actually activates, so there's not much we can do. We're trying our best. So as you can see, Cinnamar is constantly getting slept, and you know, Blaze Prison stunned, and that's pretty much preventing him from doing any kind of healing. Erebus is trying to, you know, slow down the Ice Mage so it can actually do some kind of kiting, but at this point pretty much screwed. I mean, as a Sin and as an Ice Mage, 2 of the worst DPS, you know, in the game right now. We just simply cannot get enough pressure on 2 melees and an Ice Mage. So anyways, let's see, we go against one more time, we do win because they will place a military monk with an archer, and the problem is that an archer is very weak to our combination, or an archer is very weak to our combination, probably even weaker than a Sin, because at least a Sin can run away and, you know, remove aggro. But you know, with an archer he can't really run away because I'm gonna be putting down permafrost. Along with that, Skull can put down permafrost, can put down flamestorm, doing an incredible amount of damage. There's no way the healer can, you know, keep up with permafrost and flamestorm. So anyways, this is gonna be a last game. Also, I decided to post this video because I actually get the staff finally. It's actually a few days old, so sorry I didn't upload this, but I want to redo the commentary one more time because I thought, you know, I digressed and didn't cover too many points. So as you can see, Cinnamar has a new epic weapon, so that's kind of cool. I think I showed it off at the beginning, but anyways, let's see, I think he's switching weapons. He might, because the resilience is actually really important against, you know, a high rated team like this. So as you can see, it's the same team, except in the background you can see the dude who is a ranger. So then, you know, I decided to go after the healer first, and then the problem is their comp is very weak against our comp because they just cannot do enough damage to kill, you know, a fully geared to kill me and the Ice Mage. They cannot kill Cinnamar with the combined pressure of 2 melees, and they can't really kill Skull because I'm protecting him half the time. So anyways, I'm just going after eye heals here. Let's see, trying to get some sleeps and trying to get some Blaze Prisons off. So you know, I do mess up here. This is probably in my early stages of being an Ice Mage. I'm a little better now, and eye heals is in the back, constantly running, trying to, you know, heal herself up. So anyways, I'm trying to, you know, nail her down, trying to slow her down as best as I can. I'm out of cooldowns here, so, you know, I'm just trying to stun as much as I can, and it's kind of difficult for Skull, especially as a mage, you know, to catch a running target. But then, you know, Erebus is in the background, we're just trying to keep constant pressure up on the healer, and, you know, the healer used Prey here, so the healer pretty much, you know, burn her only form of real defense, and then even though she's back at full health, now she's pretty much screwed since she doesn't have, you know, a defense against 3 DPS. So anyways, Cinnamar's doing pretty well. It's only against 1 melee, so Cinnamar should be pretty good healing himself up. So now the melee decides to go after me, I believe, and then yeah, I'm trying to stun Rayton. No, Skull is trying to stun Rayton, and Skull is trying to Blaze Prison Rayton, and then I'm trying to Blaze Prison eye heals. And, you know, that should be better since, you know, Skull's Blaze Prison aren't as effective since, you know, they have a slower cooldown. So then we're still going after them. You know, we haven't really given any ground yet. No one really given any ground, but that's just because we didn't really realize there was an archer over there. And then at some point, you know, I started attacking the archer here because I realized that, you know, we're not gonna get anywhere just by attacking, you know, the military monk, but then the healer already went down, so then the next target is going to be the archer. And then normally if it was going to 2 melees we would lose, but the problem is the archer just cannot get up enough DPS. Even when Shooter stands to heal himself up, you know, he's trying to run away here, but there's not much he can do. I mean, you know, against the combined pressure 2 mages who are very good at catching running targets, they can't do very good damage. You know, as an Ice Mage I can catch a running target, but I can't do very good damage against it. And Skull's a fire mage, can't have little difficulty catching a running target, but then, you know, can do very good damage against a target that's standing still. So then now that the ranger's down, he pretty much went down instantly. Then we decided to go after the mage, because at this point the military monk is almost dead because of all the AoE that's going on. So that's a good perk about having 2 mages. And then Let's see, it doesn't really matter if we lock Millie at this point, you know, pretty much they're dead. Grayton goes down despite the fact it's Ice Mage just because he's not getting any kind of healing because I heals is dead. And then we won this one, so that's a good game. All 4 or 5 of them were really good games, so you know, I had a lot of fun. You know, it's been a while since I had fun in Arena, so because there's so many room buffs right now, I'm queuing random on 2 sometimes, just to cap. But then, you know, it's really hard, you know, to actually, you know, win, especially since my partner half the time is like 1200 rating, and then, you know, they don't really know what they're doing. So I put it into 2v1 a lot of the time, and then that doesn't really work out very well. So anyways, I bought my staff here, as you can see. I'm really excited about this. Well, I was excited about this a few days ago. You can see Goku here. You can see just Skull congratulating me. You know, even if he's a mafia, I don't really care. Like, to be honest, in arena and dungeons, anywhere outside world PvP, I don't really care about the guild all that much. You know, I have a few exceptions, but as you can see, I'm jamming it up. So anyways, the Pohdoh, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and I'll see you guys later.